So my name is Eva Vega. I'm the founder of Thyme We are a family dining experience, but we go beyond that. So we'll go start with that. Our mission, we focus on social needs and inclusive solutions that help families living with disabilities and impairments realize their importance and obtain that sense of community. Even though we are not a religious organization, we were founded on the principles in 1 Peter 4:9, where we offer true hospitality without grumbling. No matter what the need is, how difficult or how minute it may seem to somebody, it's important to us regardless of what it is. And we need to make sure that that community feels that, because that is what our community as a whole, I am a mom with special needs, that we lack so much of. Why do we do it? Well, the reason why we do what we do is because of selfish reasons, right? So in 2013, I had recently moved back to the States. We were living in Japan for 4 years. I came back with a 2-year-old and a new diagnosis of autism. I didn't know what it was. And we are very social, my husband and I, both military, both culinarians, and both love food. And we took him out to eat one time. And we sat down, and through some minor struggles that you have as a regular parent, my son started to have a slight meltdown before we even got the food. And make a long story short, what ended up happening is management came and pretty much asked us to leave. They said that our son was being disruptive and that other people around us were uncomfortable, and if we couldn't control him, we couldn't stay. And so explaining to a nonverbal, moderately autistic child that you can't have mac and cheese when that's the only thing he eats all day, it was pretty devastating for us. We left that restaurant defeated. Not only were we dealing with something we never dealt with before, but now this is our industry and we're being treated like we didn't matter. So my husband and I, as you can see, such a pretty family, my husband and I, we decided to do something about it. It's 15 years culinary experience, 10 of those being military. He served on the USS Eisenhower, served 5,000 people a day, every day for 3 meals. And I was an air crewman. I had no idea what hospitality was going to be like, but I just knew that I was in the business of serving. I joined my military career to serve, and I knew that now, as my son right there, who was a lot smaller at the time, he didn't have anybody, and I wanted him to get the same service that I would have wanted myself. So how do we do this? Well, it's going to be kind of silly, but we actually do it through café. What does that mean, right? Like, wait, what? You serve coffee? Everybody does that? No, that's not what I'm talking about. CAFE is actually our acronym, because the Navy is all about acronyms. I learned that in the military a long time ago, so I figured it was important to bring that to the civilian sector. CAFE means celebrate, accommodate, facilitate, and educate through events. The reason why this is important to us is because there's all different types of disability, like neural and physical, and we need to accommodate each need. By facilitating community partnerships and facilitating like the gaps, which is what Greenville Can does on a regular basis, but really try to get the social aspect of that through so that families who are isolated can feel a part of something. When we celebrate, we do it through simple things like wine nights. And these are fun because you have adults with disabilities who may enjoy alcohol or may enjoy tea. But their whole goal is they want to get together with other like-minded individuals and feel camaraderie. So we do that through nights where we invite moms, hey, come over here, we're going to talk bad about our experiences, but we're going to do it together, and we're going to figure out a way to navigate through them. We do date nights for the rest of us where we get single moms or parents who deal with severe disabilities daily, and they don't get time to themselves, to actually come to a place, have dinner, 5 courses, fine dining experience, and we have therapists that volunteer and do activities with the kids so that they could have a night out, even if their night is not far away from their kid. Play dates and social clubs, that's kind of self-explanatory. And then you have peer support groups where you can come talk to if you're a PTSD vet like myself, or if you're a mom who's just struggling with how to homeschool your child or something like that, just where we can get the community involved and relating. We accommodate by physical equipment, we accommodate by sensory equipment, we accommodate by dietary and allergy accommodations. A lot of these things, even though they're common sense to us because we work with it daily, in the hospitality industry, they're overlooked constantly. We facilitate by getting together with organizations like Greenville Can, or the most recent one we did was with the YMCA on East Side, where we actually partnered with them and we set up our booth with our sensory equipment and our adaptable equipment and let them host a beast mode for kids that wouldn't have been inclusive until we brought therapists and we bought equipment to make it inclusive. We do immersion experiences where if you have an organization who doesn't really know how to deal with things or accommodate it on that level, we can actually let you come to one of our events and then you kind of see it firsthand and be like, oh, that is a need that I really need to address. We also do workshops and these are more for life skills. So we're really big on teaching life skills like cooking or etiquette or just introducing your kid to a fine dining experience that, you know, typically would be really, really hard, but you're in a safe environment without judgment. And then we educate the same way through events. One of the most profound things I've learned with my child with autism is that a lot of it is not what you can read in a book or what you can find on Pinterest. You have to kind of hand over hand it, and you have to be involved in every minute of it for it to really stick. But when it sticks, it's like magic. It's like they won't forget it, and it's just, you go from looking at you without seeing you to actually communicating with eyes. And it's important for me that we do these kind of events like the DIY solutions at home, because parents oftentimes go into this, or adults with disabilities go into something and not really knowing what or how to navigate it. And when you do these type of classrooms where it's just laid back and no pressure, you take as long as you need, I think you'll start to see the personality of these individuals and these families start to come alive. And then we have the EFMP, which is our Exceptional Family Members Program, and this is more for the military side of things. This is where we can actually go out to Columbia, talk to Fort Jackson, and get their special needs families all in a room and kind of see what their needs are and kind of address those as they come up. But that's not really for here right now. And how can we help? I'm going to keep this really short because I really want to talk just to talk and then have you ask questions. But right now we have some venues that we're utilizing, but we're looking for a constant one that is easy for families to navigate to. And we're also looking for board members and advisors because we are very new. And of course, donors and grants and volunteers. We don't run off anything other than volunteers. All of our staff is volunteer. We're all volunteer. And the therapists that come on, they can change a person's life in minutes just because they were there and they understood, so the parent didn't have to get up and be overwhelmed in that moment. So volunteers are super important. But that's the end of my really boring slideshow. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys. Oh, I guess here is the end. If you want to watch the video that I created.
Hi guys, I'm the founder of Thyme and we're here at our December 21st
So this was an event we did in December of last year.
We're so excited to have our guests
so you can actually see
here. This is our last event of this year, and we have a few more coming next year, so we can't wait to get you guys all signed up. I hope you enjoy our video, and if you have any questions, post it on our social media page at facebook.com/Thyme, or you can go to our Twitter or Instagram pages, and it'll be Thyme and Played. We just are so grateful that you guys are supporting us, and that our love and passion to advocate for people with disabilities is growing, and the people in Greenville are so welcoming to it. We thank you guys for supporting us. We appreciate you. We want to know that different is not less, and that every ability should be celebrated no matter how big or how small. So if you guys want to join anytime, let us know. Subscribe to our page on our website, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
So this was a 5-course meal. We did it on the theme of Merry Christmas, so everything had fresh berries secured from Sustaining Way in downtown Greenville, Broken Wings Farms, the Anya Path, and a couple other local organizations.
With Above and Beyond with the Upstate, and I'm one of the volunteers here at Time and Play. And I love the concept that parents are able to eat while their children are taken care of, especially working with families with special needs. I know that it's hard to find childcare for those children with someone that they trust, so parents can have a great meal, the food's always wonderful, and know that their children are taken care of.
We're at Time and Play. I am Sally. I'm an occupational therapy assistant that is volunteering here for Time and Play for the Vega family. This is an amazing event that we have here for Christmas. This is the very Christmas. And I'm so grateful and thankful for this opportunity for families to be able to come out and enjoy a wonderful time, a wonderful dinner while their children are being taken care of by therapists and professionals that understand their children and don't have to feel ashamed, and we come and embrace and just have a great time. And I appreciate the Vega family to be able to come up with such an amazing concept to have, to fill a need for the community here in Greenville. So please come on and join us at Time and Play, and we'll be here. Let's have some fun.
Hello, my name is Caleb Miller, and I'm the Sustainability Coordinator for Sustaining Way. I met Eva and Henry through that partnership, and we try to provide some fresh produce and give them those healthy and fresh local produce available. I think their business model is really unique and creative, and they service a really interesting needs. So this is my first dining experience with them, and it's been really great. Thank you guys.
We have a good turnout. We have tons of adults, tons of kids. They seem to be enjoying themselves. The food is coming out on time, and so far so good. No bad feedback.
We do monitor the kids. So one of the coolest things that we learned because we are a new organization, and I'll be finishing up really quickly, but one of the things that we learned is that disabilities are not cookie cut, right? And not every solution fits the same way. So what we've realized is that our ticketed model is really good because we can actually cater to the individuals that reserve for that night. For instance, we did a night where we had multiple disabilities, cognitive and physical, and one of the moms who came said, "This is a great idea, but I would never bring my son." And I was like, well, why wouldn't you? And she said, well, my son has Angelman syndrome. It's a really physically intensive syndrome, and you know, a lot of the stuff that you have in the rooms and a lot of the stuff that you have out here, it could cause him to go into seizure, it could cause him to have all these negative things, and I don't really want to be worrying about that if I was going to enjoy this. And I was like, well, if that's the case, well, let's do an Angelman syndrome day. So with her help, we planned an Angelman syndrome dinner in, I think it was March, and we invited all the Angelman community that we could, and we had people traveling 10 hours. 10 hours to just come have dinner. So they booked a night in Greenville, and they had dinner with other angel families. And I think that's what's so important. Let me turn this off, sorry. What's so important about being inclusive and being socially responsible as a community is that we look for where the need is and we fill that need. And if the need is just a dinner, then we do just a dinner. But if the need is just a place to talk, then we do just a talk. But the whole point is to get typical and non-typical families communicating together, understanding and being aware of each other. Because a lot of the times you go into a place and it's almost like if you're stepping on somebody's territory because what your child or what you may be doing is different than what they're used to. And it's all about introduction. So if we can just create a place where we introduce them to the world the world will accept them more. And that's kind of what Time and Play is in the whole. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. But yeah, I've been talking for a while and I keep talking.
I have a question. Do you have an actual place or do you go to different places?
So I would say we're semi-mobile. We have a physical location at First Baptist Church that let us use it whenever we need to. But we've also done things at LEO, St. Lawrence Road, and we've done things at the YMCA. So it's just kind of where the need is. We're looking for a place to call our own. But until we find that, we'll just be kind of navigating through the different venues. And if you know anyone who would like us to do it over there, let us know, because we're always looking.
What is the age requirement?
There's no age requirement. So we can, so depending on the event, what we'll do is if we have a lot of adults, then we'll provide more help towards the adults. And if we have a lot of kids, we'll provide more help towards that. So it's whatever the majority of the attendees are in that event is what we'll serve. So for instance, when we do our military nights and we do our MRE dinners, a lot of those individuals have PTSD like myself, and have MST and those kind of cognitive disorders. And what we found is bringing in social workers and something that can just relate works out better than versus if we have a big kid-friendly night, we're going to bring in a lot of therapists because they're going to be all over the place. So it just really depends on what the event is or what the organization needs from us is what we'll do.
I have another question. Do you and your husband prepare the meals and then you have volunteers help?
Right now,
that?
yes, we prepare the meals, we prep it, serve it, and we have a lot of volunteers that, or I wouldn't say a lot, we have some volunteers that have decided that they like the kitchen better than therapy rooms, so we'll utilize them. Also, we have one of our board members works with Greenville Tech as a professor for the Culinary Institute over there, and he sometimes brings students. So we love Greenville Tech because that's where we graduated from with our degrees. So we do everything ourselves.
Any other questions for Eva?
In terms of the therapist, do you only have therapists, or could you have like students, or I guess it depends on the kids and if they need.
I think we flaunt therapists because most people feel more comfortable with therapists, but we have a lot of advocates that show up and just people who say, look, I don't know anyone, I don't know anything, but I just want to help, and we accept those too. The only difference is when you're in the room with children, we require like background checks and stuff like that before you can actually volunteer. But as long as you're willing to go through the steps and you pass, then we don't really cut it off at a certification.
What's the best way to find out about particular events?
So all of our events are going to be listed on our website, which is currently under maintenance, but it's www.thymeandplay.org or thymeandplay.com, whichever one you choose to search for. But under our events tab, we'll list all of the upcoming events. And pretty soon you'll see workshops and classes and other things on there to come in the future.
Eva, when you have